Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North East Non-League Show, episode 43, Northern League September special. Reviewing of the Northern League, how things have been going, good and bad points. And I've got some really special guests tonight. And tonight's show is sponsored by Jade Bell and DJ Private Hire. And as we say, join us now. We have Dan Bell, Berkeley manager Paul Bryson, and Jarrow manager Kenny Mallier. Lads, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I feel like we're spoiling the guests tonight with so many good faces on as well. So it should be a good show. So just before we get on to the Northern League, just going to be chatting about the two lads. There's obviously teams that we have on tonight. And start with yourself, Paul. 9 games down, top 4, won 6, lost 3, and a plus 10 goal difference. Must be very happy with the start so far.
Yeah, Dan. To be fair, really pleased. We're carried on the momentum. To be fair, from last season, which took we into the first division, and. Well, obviously going to miss the goals of Aidan, which we've just been talking about there. And Connor Grant retired as well, the goalkeeper. So they take some replacing them too. But the majority of the squad is still the same lads who were promoted from the second division, So, yeah, really pleased with them. I'm really delighted that we made a conscious decision to keep the nucleus of the side that got into the first division, to earn the right to play there. And that togetherness has certainly helped win the start. So yeah, absolutely delighted.
No, it's really good to see. And Kenny, yourself, obviously at Jarrow as well, 13 games played now, and just that win last night, the 2-1 will just muck you up a few extra places in the top 6 now, which even sounds even better with the start that you've had as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Literally from the start, obviously in pre-season, we had a great pre-season. Brought in some good lads who we could trust, and we thought, right, let's kick on. And we've had a great start. You say sitting 6, 13 games in, I would have took that definitely at the start of the season. Having obviously 2 big wins against Horden and Blythe, 2 teams who have been tipped to probably win the league or be up there top 3. And obviously we've already played against them, got the 3 points there against them. So yeah, it's been very good.
Oh, that's really good to see. And just to yourself, Dan, as well, before we go on with the league, obviously up for award, best in non-league video. Must be delighted with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely thrilled to bits. So just like to personally say just thank you so much to everyone that's nominated me, that's been voting for so far. And obviously congratulations to yourself on getting in for the non-league best in non-league podcast. I think just the whole like I was saying off air a few minutes ago, they were saying that just how sort of great it is to see so many people that are covering non-league content in the North East up for awards. It just shows like how much the non-league game is growing in the region, and long may that continue, because I think if you'd have done this a couple of years ago, I've been lucky if you had any people covering non-league football in North East up for these kind of things. So yeah, it's a little bit surreal, but whatever happens, very proud of myself that I made it to this point.
Oh, really good. And now we're getting on to the Northern League and Division 1, and you start to see now in both divisions kind of groups starting at the top, the middle of the bottom, and it's starting to kind of get that now in Division 1 with a little pack starting to break away, the likes of Shildon, Whitley Bay, Bishop Berkeley, and then just behind that we have Heaton, obviously with lots of games in hand as well. But start with yourself, Dan, and we've got to mention Shildon, who's at the top there, had a great month, unbeaten all month, 23 goals in 5 games, striker post still on fire as well. But Whitley Bay at home on Saturday, that's a big game, but you win them games now at these important times in the season, that could have a knock-on effect for other games going forward, and the confidence that will give to them and the leading pack if they do win on Saturday as well, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think points in September are every bit as important as points in April. I don't think it's ever a bad time to get a little bit of form going. And lo and behold, obviously Shildon currently sitting top of the league, unbeaten. And you can see why. Obviously, I watched them at West Auckland early on in the season, and I think that game I saw 2 teams that have proven themselves pretty tough to beat. So I think with Shildon, obviously it was they've come down from the Northern Premier League East Division, but it looks as though they have kept on large sort of nucleus of that squad, and I think it is showing now, because I think they've come back into the Northern League, but have recovered quite well. But then again, obviously up against Whitley Bay, as we touched upon a few weeks ago, I've had a couple of sort of bad defeats early on, but have always maybe been there or thereabouts, and it's proven the case once again. So if they can get a result from that game, then I think that's a real statement of intent from them, like of how they've maybe put some of the wrongs of earlier this season right, and that they're not up there just to make up the numbers, and they want to have a go at like potentially winning a league, or maybe at least going up through the playoffs themselves.
No, definitely. And Paul, just behind that, obviously Whitley Bay and Bishop's second and third, and they both had good months, I think, being beaten in September and going strong. And obviously them sides have been up there last season, which I think that's going to have an advantage for them sides who were kind of battling out for the title last season. But looking at Whitley Bay, and you're seeing that last season, them big games, they just didn't have that little bit extra that they needed. The other side's got the wins, and I think that's going to be the same this season. If they do get beat on Saturday, that's going to have a knock-on effect again in their minds.
I'm not sure. It's early days at the minute, and I know Bishops play Heaton on Saturday as well, I believe.
Tough game,
and that's a real tough game. Whitley Bay, I think Nicky's looking to add one or two players. I think he's got a signing up his sleeve before Saturday, which could prove a good signing for Whitley Bay. We played Bishop Auckland on Tuesday, and it's one of the best performances I've seen from a team in the last 3 or 4 years. They were absolutely outstanding. And I know it is really early days, but I would say whoever finishes ahead of Bishop Auckland, will win the league, and that's a big statement, because there's some real good sides at the top of the division, and it's unbelievable, that as I say, it is early, but it's unbelievable, but really nice that you're mentioning Berkeley in amongst them top sides. But I think it'll be close. But as I say, Bishop Auckland on Tuesday, in possession and out of possession, they were absolutely superb. Absolutely superb.
Yeah, they've been looking really good. And just behind that, Kenny, you've got the likes, obviously, like you said, touched on there, Berkeley, but you've got the likes of North Shields, Carlisle sitting up there as well, West Allotment, Heaton, Gisborough, Wigan, and them sides that you kind of expect to be up there and around and hopefully pushing on a bit further. Is any of them sides kind of that you're looking at that pack and kind of thinking, yeah, they will push on? And it's also nice to see Carlisle, after the season that they had last year, pushing on as well this year, isn't it?
Yeah, I was quite lucky. Our game got called off due to a waterlogged pitch against Thornaby a couple of weeks ago. So I was along watching the Berkeley game and Shields. So both teams totally at it. It's a good game as well. So definitely them two. Obviously, I know a lot about Berkeley from obviously previous, like last year. I think West Allotment as well, as you say there. I think they've just signed a couple of lads as well. So I think they'll be pushing on. They'll want to try and push on a bit now with that. I think they've just signed a new striker from Prudder, and he looked very sharp. I seen him a couple of weeks ago. Heaton Stan, I think the squad depth that they've got from goalkeeper to all the way up top, I think they've definitely got to be in the running as well. I think they finished pretty strong last year as well. So I think definitely they'll be one of the ones for me for being up the top as well.
Yeah, really competitive there. And towards going down from mid-table down now, I know we focused a lot on Division 1 at the top on the last show as well, but now more looking at the bottom side, and I think kind of from Division 1 going down, it's very close around that area as well. And come back to yourself, Paul, in this one. Redford Athletic, obviously sitting 11th at the moment, moving on up after a few wins this, but 5 games unbeaten in the league, but still sitting around there. Got beat on 2-1 on Tuesday night at West Auckland. With the likes of, like, obviously Walker playing very well at the moment, time and getting amongst the goals, you would expect them now to climb a bit, but they've still got that defeat in them, haven't they? There just seems to be something not going clicking right at times.
I'd agree. They'll definitely be there or thereabouts as well at the end of the season. I spoke to Gary, and I get on quite well with Gary, to be fair, at Redcar, and he admits he undercooked the players in the pre-season. He didn't have the pre-season that they would have liked for one reason or another, and he felt after the first couple of games in the Northern League when the season started, that's how they went on that I think it was 5 or 6 games undefeated, and that's when you were starting to see the real Redcar. Littered with good players. Isaac Walker's, for me, one of the best players in the league, and I would expect them to be up there in around the mix when the season finishes.
Yeah, you look at the next couple of games. Obviously, North Shields tough one on the weekend, but then you've got the likes of Penrith, Towler. No disrespect to them teams, but you expect them getting 6 points from both of them games as well, don't you?
Well, yeah, you've got to be at it. That's one thing I would say in this first division. You know, you can't afford to have any off days. Otherwise, you know, you really get punished. But as I say, Redcar on that day, they can beat anybody once they're up and running, and the way they are now.
Yeah, and Kenny just behind there, all sitting on 10 points. They got 12 West Auckland, 13 Benfield, 14 Crook. Obviously, after all the draws that Crook had, they started to get a couple of wins now and pushing up that table as well. But do you expect with them 3 teams to be happy with what they've done so far? Do you think there will be any of those sides that expect to finish a little bit higher come the end of the season?
I would probably say Crook. I thought they might have been a little bit higher. But sitting this early in the season, sitting mid-table, it's nothing to worry about, is it? It's one of them. You can go 3-4 games. The next 3-4 games, you could go on a winning run, and you're back up there already, and straight away you're just thinking, right, well, we can kick on from here. So
yeah,
I definitely wouldn't say it's a problem at the minute, especially when it's so early on. There's plenty of games to go.
Definitely. And just behind that, then, I think we jinxed on the last show, how saying how good seeing Red Star starting the season. I think they've won a game since we've chatted about them on the last show, and they're just sitting in 15th, and obviously still Borough Rangers down there 16th. I know they've got a couple of games in there, but like you say, start with Seaham, not winning the league since September, conceding a lot of goals. It's starting to get a bit worrying, even at this stage, isn't it? I'd like to see after the great start that they did have.
Potentially, but you've got to remember with Seaham, I was chatting to one of the, I think one of the committee members or someone involved with the club at least when I went to watch them in August, and he was telling us they have got one of the youngest squads in the league, which is obviously something you've got to take into consideration. So I think I might have said in that last show we did together actually, and I did think they have maybe a couple of games where things maybe won't quite go the way, but that can happen. As I said, they are young lads, they are still developing, but what I can say about them is they do try to play football the right way, they do try to play with a lot of energy, so I'm personally, like, from what I've seen of him, yes, I maybe did expect them to maybe hit a bit of a sticky patch at some point, but I do think over the course of the season there is still enough in that squad to stay play, as I say, young, energetic players, but then also the likes of, I'm not sure if he's still there now or not, but obviously you have Adam Bernicle, who's been there and done it in the Northern League as an experienced shoulder that these players can like lead on.
No, definitely. Just going around all 3 as well, obviously starting in the bottom 4 now in Division 1, you've got early signs of Penrith, Northallerton, Towler, RCA, and I think between them, they've let in about 130 goals now and only scored kind of 30 goals between them. It's not looking good. Start with yourself, Kenny. I mean, looking at them 4 sides, it's going to be, you can see already with the points total, it's going to be a real struggle to kind of stay in that division now, and it's kind of fight between them 4 who's going to go down already, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with RCA, I think obviously getting a new manager in and the amount of players that they brought in, that was always going to be hard. It's never easy trying to gel. We know that with Sel, we've done that, but we're quite fortunate that it kind of worked in our favour. We've got a few good results on the board, so it can go in a good way. But I think when you're down there and you're not winning and you're conceding goals, you've just got to find that right balance of try and cut them out, and then we'll go back to basics, I think. But it's like I say, it's still early days. I wouldn't say that they're relegated out already. I think it's far too early to even say anything like that.
Yeah, and with yourself, Paul, I mean, one of the teams that was in there that we kind of chatted about in the summer was Northallerton, with a couple of kind of experienced players that they're brought in. Are you surprised to see them down there at the moment?
I was, and I was surprised at the start they made, to be fair. And obviously they've had a change of manager now as well. So you can expect them to bring some new blood in. And as Kenny says, it's really early days, and a win would be massive if they can get a win, and then you take that into your next fixture. All of a sudden, you've got a little bit of confidence, and it might get you on a little run of 2 or 3 games that can get you out of that area. It's far too early to be talking about relegation at the minute. Mind you, I do believe, and use my correct us if I'm wrong here, there's only one team going down from the first division this year. So I'm not sure if you've heard that.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, as I say, if they get on a run of 2 or 3 games, it just builds that confidence, and all of a sudden you're giving a little bit 10% extra, and that's what they'll be hoping for.
Yeah, and I think down with them 4 teams down there, they've got to try and keep picking them wins up every time that they can possible, because if you go on a 3-game unbeaten against a 4, 5, 6, and if there's a lot of young lads playing them sides, it really affects them mentally, doesn't it? Sometimes it really gets them.
Yeah, it can do, but I think as well, maybe with where the fixtures have landed, it doesn't seem to me as though a lot of those teams have actually played against each other yet. So I think obviously that is going to probably make quite a bit of difference this year, if I'm being honest about it. But I think, as we were saying when Northampton there, they did make quite a big recruitment drive in the summer, and I think what they've done the last few years is they've always seemed to have started off very slow. I mean, granted, this seems to be like for however much they sort of struggled at this stage last season before, or whatever. It hasn't felt as though it's ever been to this extent, but I do think there'll be ones that will start to get it right eventually. I mean, obviously, I think for me, looking at it in a minute, I think maybe Tower and RCA are going to be the ones that might have to battle it out. I mean, if it is only going to be one going down, then I think that is obviously that acts as a help to some of the teams down there, and it gives them that bit of encouragement. But as I say, as we keep saying, it is still pretty early on in the season. Things can change very quickly at this level for one reason or another. Players obviously players might have to leave whatever club because of other commitments. Teams go on cup runs. Eventually bad weather will start to play its part, and then obviously teams have a lot of games to catch up on. So there's we're still only in September, and there's still a hell of a lot to be put into consideration before I think we can be sort of drawing to any conclusions at either end of the table.
No, definitely. And that's Division 1. On to Division 2 next as well. And just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's watching so far. Lots of people are watching now, so we really appreciate your support. As always, any comments, get them in as well. Any questions you want to ask the 2 managers, get them in as well at any point. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well. And getting on to Division 2, same as Division 1, it's just starting to take shape very nicely now. Obviously, the top 4, Blue Star, Horden, Benton and Blythe. And starting with yourself, Dan, I mean, I know we kind of chatted before on the show, and let's be honest, it'd be nice, some of these stronger teams that we've seen, like these 4, who's going to be up there, to kind of, it's a shame that they all 4 couldn't go up to make that Division 1 as strong as possible. And you've seen the experienced sides that they've got. I think Blue Star lost 1 and 5 in September. Horden played 3, won 3. Benton played 6, won 5, apart from that 3-1 loss against West End. And then Blythe played 3, won 2 and lost 1, and part of 1 against, obviously, Kenny's Jarry, 2-1 as well. That was a win. But you look at the sides up there and you see Horden as well, a couple of good signings during the week, and Ryden and Bird as well. I mean, what's your thoughts on that top 4 at the moment? Do you think that will ever change throughout the season?
It can do. I mean, as I was saying, there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of things that need to be thrown into consideration. But I think regardless of the time of season, I think the teams are up there for a reason, and I think with the magnitude of some of the results that some of those sides have had so far, I think they're showing exactly what their intentions are for this season, and I think they're all going to be pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, and Kenny, like you say, you've played some of these bigger sides in that league as well, and very lucky against Blue Star and a great cracking win against Horden as well. I mean, what's your thoughts on them sides at the top there?
Well, Blue Star was the first game of the season. Obviously, it was my first for Jarrah, and it was Blue Star's first game of the Northern League, so we knew that was going to be a bit of a feisty one. We took the lead twice. I think it was 2-2 at half time. And the game was going in our favour, to be fair. They got a kid sent off probably about 60 minutes in, and we thought, right, it was our game to win. Unfortunately, we lost one of our centre halves. He went out injured. He had to come off, so got to make a change then. And literally from that change, they had a quick free kick, played the ball forward, and we conceded from it. The young lad Dan Lannon, who's on fire at the minute. So it was a bit disappointing to start the season not winning it, but you could see the quality that they've got. They've got the experience. It's the same with Horden. Horden for 45 minutes absolutely battered with at their place. Went in 2-0, probably could have been 3, maybe 4. Made a couple of changes. We came out, we just said, look lads, just go for it, and played some great football in the second half and went up coming away with a 3-2 win. So, but again, they're a very, very tough team to play for, especially down there. But yeah, the two good sides, like, definitely.
Very good. And Paul, like just that little pack behind, obviously with Jarrah, Ball and Chelsea Street Town, Easington, Yarm as well, Prudhoe. Some really good sides down to 10th place, and then some great managers. I know I was just chatting about the Steve Cup at work, like Kenny, that's on tonight as well. And I mean, we had the Chelsea Street managers on last week, and Ollie Hodgkiss from Easington coming on next week. Some really good like managers playing the trade now. And you look at them teams, and it's quite exciting how they do Division 2 with the playoffs now. And a lot of them teams in that pack will be looking to get it in them playoffs because, as you know yourself, you get in them playoffs, it's anyone's game at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, obviously, great managers. More importantly, great people, and working with real good clubs. It's a real tough one to call the second division. Who'll get the automatic spot? Will it be between Blythe and Blue Star? Probably got the best 2 budgets in that league. I would have, from what you hear, the playoffs make it a real interesting. It's fantastic for the league, and it keeps the interest for the rest of the teams. And if you get on there, it'll probably be like the playoffs last year. Any team on that day, can beat each other. So that's what they'll be striving to do. Kenny included to get in that top 5, and then giving it all in them one-off games. But the playoffs do make it exciting. People ask me, people say, is it harder getting out the second division or staying in the first division? I'll tell you, my answer is, I'll tell you one thing, it was bloody hard getting out that second division because every game seemed like a pressure game. So as soon as you drop points, you're straight away looking to see how the other teams in and around you were. And that's what it felt like. It felt like a pressure game every time, every game. This year, I wouldn't say we've got free hits this year, but there's some games where we're probably not expected to get anything out of, which if you don't, it's not so bad, if you know what I mean. And you can target the other teams, what you're trying to expect to get points off.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? And another team in there as well, Dan Bolden doing really well, beat Blue Star 2-0. Crumble doing a great job, and like you said, you got Levi Collins who's just banging in goals for fun at the moment. Do you think they can keep that going up there?
Yeah, well, they've been sort of there or thereabouts for a couple of years now, haven't they? And obviously in the first season, they managed to finish, I think, was it second or third in the league? Then obviously missed out in the playoffs to Tower Lord, and I think last season they dropped down a little bit, and I think I think they've been one of those that maybe kept the core of the squad on for a couple of years now, so they maybe be a little bit disappointed with how last season went, but I think they're always going to be one of those that obviously the other teams are going to have to be wary of, that can beat absolutely anybody on the day. They've got the quality within the squad, like obviously Collins, once again, he's absolutely firing on all cylinders as he always is. So I think like I've watched them in pre-season against Durham City. I mean, it was an absolutely horrendous game of football. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I think like I think that there could well be right up there coming out and seeing. I think that the fact that the squad has been together for quite a considerable amount of time could well be something that works in a favour, and that obviously that past disappointment of the previous playoff campaign could be something that could help sort of strive them on when if and possibly when it comes down to it.
Yeah, definitely. And then Kenny, just behind that, it's obviously played right and Beckham doing a really good job there as well. But you've got the likes of Billy Santoni, FC Hartlepool coming into the league, West End as well, Newcastle uniform, Chester Street United starting to pick points up as well. It's starting to get a good mix around that mid-table. But you kind of seen it last season where everyone was literally beating everyone from kind of 7th down to 15th, 16th. It was just changing all the time in that mix. I mean, the teams that you've played in there, kind of what's your thoughts on them sides and just your quick thoughts, obviously, on the game last during the week as well?
Yeah, it's like I said, on your day you think, right, we've got this. It should be an easy 3 points, but I think Paul said it before. No game in either league, I think, is an easy game. You'll go there, you'll think, right, you've got your best 16 available, you've got your best 11 out, and it just doesn't click for some reason on the day.
Yeah.
But last night, I think it was probably our best performance in terms of keeping the ball and moving the ball well, and the decision making was spot on as well. And I said it's going to take a little bit time for us to start gelling, and we could see a lot of good signs last night from the win, and it just gives you that big boost. We went to Thornaby on Saturday. We didn't play well at all, and we came away and we didn't deserve anything from it. Fair play to Thornaby. I thought they were tidy, but on another day we think we should be comfortably taking 3 points there, but obviously it didn't happen. But last night was good. Then we've got the big one against Brother, my old team from last season, on Saturday, so looking forward to that one as well. But yeah, I think out of them teams, I think you're probably looking at the Uni. I thought the Uni were quite good. They've got some very good players, but again, it's who they've got available when they're away and stuff, holidays. And I think if they did have the team that they've got at the start of the season, I think they would do a lot better than they actually do come the end of the season. But yeah, it's definitely difficult.
Right. A couple of comments from there. Craig, even lads, hope you're okay. Superheat Army done, mate. And Craig again just saying, converted town, thumbs up for Bryce as well from Craig there. And to yourself, Paul, obviously Billy Town, new gaffer Steve Connolly appointed as well. I know that a very poor start, but it was just literally building a brand new squad after last season. It's a shame, obviously the season that they had last year and everything what went on. And obviously a few new signs at Eshwin, who's just below that, and I can imagine obviously Wrecker Town, who's down and around that area as well. Them three sides will be looking to kind of push on now as well, won't they?
Again, what was said before, they'll be probably looking at the fixtures. And hopefully the fixtures are kind to them, and can they get a run of 2 or 3 games where it'll just click, and then the season kicks on. That's what we'll be looking and hoping for. I would imagine.
No, definitely. And then down just below that, you've got the bottom 2, which at the moment is 21st Brandon on 7 points and 22nd Washington on 5 points. And I think you kind of expect, looking at things, Washington's kind of climb above Brandon very shortly. And I mean, it's sad to see it. Obviously, you're looking at Brandon, and I mean, they've had I would say, the last decade, a torrid time, kind of finishing in and around that, probably staying up because of COVID and stuff like that. And obviously, Matty comes in, brings a little bit of pride back to the club, playing some great football, and obviously Matty leaves to go to the Crook. And then obviously the season ends, season starts again, Pickering comes in. Obviously, what happened over the last few weeks of that. And then you look at obviously players boycotting the match against Horden, and it just seems to get worse and worse for Brandon. You kind of look at it now, and you've seen teams that drop out of the Northern League, the likes of Durham, Willington, and they go down and struggling again in the Wales side. It's quite a worry watching how Brandon could go that way now as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think when off the pitch, shenanigans like this are happening, it doesn't do anybody any favours. Like you saw what happened with Durham City a couple of years ago. The things with Durham City, that only really started to calm itself out last year, didn't it? And it just like sadly feels as though history's maybe repeating itself a little bit. I mean, obviously, I really do hope that Brandon can find a solution and get something sorted. Because I mean, I've only personally actually only ever been there once, but I really did enjoy my visit up there. It's a nice little setup and what have you. And yes, it's just all like it's just all a little bit surreal what's been going on. But as we say, this is non-league football. Things can change for better or for worse. Sometimes very quickly, sometimes pretty much out of the blue. And yeah, it's really a bit of a it's a really unpleasant situation. What's going on there? But as I said, I'd like to think that hopefully there'll be people that care about Brandon United enough to turn the ship around a little bit, and hopefully this kind of conversation will be something that we won't really need to have about them again, and we can just focus solely on the pitch matters, whether to be in form, out of form, whatever.
No, definitely. But it's been absolutely fantastic talking about the league. I know it's only 2 months in, and I expect now with the dark nights and the cold weather, the wet pitches, and you'll start to see who's going to turn up and who's not going to turn up. And I imagine things are going to be a lot different on the next show with the October review of how the teams are doing. So I can imagine some teams are going to go on a nice little run. Some teams are really struggling. So really, really interesting to see where sides are. But from all these that's been as well, Kenny, Paul, Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I really appreciate it, and I hope we've put out a good advert for the Northern League as well.
Thank you.
No problems. See you later. All the best. All the best, Kenny, matey.
You too, mate.
So, pal. See you later. Bye-bye.
And we're back next Tuesday for our Newcastle women's review, 9:10 as well. So get along for that one. We'll have Michael and Luke on the show as well. But again, everyone that's been watching, really appreciate your support as always. If you haven't, get across the Crossroad Facebook page. Lots going on as well. And if you've got nothing on tomorrow night, we'll be down at Sunderland West End versus Chelsea Street Town down at Ford Hope tomorrow night for a video vlog as well. But again, everyone that's been watching, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night as well.